Anyway, so today is the chaos episode, during which no one knows what'll happen, me included.
This is Wizards, Warriors and Words, a fantasy writing advice podcast. If you'd like to unlock bonus content and also help the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Simply go to patreon.com/Wizards, Warriors, Words to learn more. You can also find this link in the show notes. And a huge thank you to all our current patrons. You're awesome. And a special shout out to our latest Patreon member, Gary O'Brien. Gary, thank you for helping support the show.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Wizened Nerds, Warriors, and Wombats podcast. I am Michael R. Fletcher, and I am joined by my co-host.
This episode of Wizards, Warriors, and Words is brought to you
Jed
by
Herne,
our Patreon. Patreon is a way for you to help support
Dyrk
the show
Ashton,
for a small monthly donation.
The Paternus
and in
series.
exchange for that, you can
Rob
get rewards
Hayes,
like
author of
editorial
The
feedback on your own
Never
writing,
Die,
free advanced reader copies of our books,
which you
weeks
can see
or even months before they actually release,
Gambit,
and a whole lot more. You can check out all those rewards and our Patreon by going to patreon.com/.
Anyway, so today
Wizards, Warriors,
is the chaos
Words,
episode,
and
during which
that link is
no one
also
knows what'll happen, me
in the
included.
show notes.
So we're just going to shoot this shit and talk about
/Wizards, Warriors,
stuff,
Words
you can either
for a way to
suffer
help
through it or
support
not.
the show and also get some sweet rewards.
This is what happens when Fletcher gets in control.
Yes.
I'm very scared about this.
Suffering being the operative word.
Yeah. So, Rob, what are you reading right now? What are you doing?
Reading? Oh, crap, what am I reading?
Are you reading something?
I am reading something. I'm reading the second Expanse book. That's what I'm reading. I've just started Caliban's War.
What do you think?
It's pretty good. I prefer the TV show, The Expanse. No, the books are pretty good. Although I have just encountered a section with a character describing themselves after looking at themselves in a mirror, and it made me cringe.
Heck yeah.
It's right up there for pet peeves with me when like in a fantasy book somebody eats and spills grease down their chin, and I'm just like, people don't eat that way. Nobody eats that way.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a local custom that hasn't carried to the rest of the world.
Canadian.
I loved book 1 in The Expanse. Does book 2 have like most of the same characters, or does it like follow?
I don't know, man. I'm like 20 pages in.
Fair enough.
It's already got a couple of new characters because there's the Martian Marine Bobby who features, but I'm not very far in so far because I was going to get some read this morning, but I went for a run instead.
Yeah, I saw that 5K in 32 minutes.
Yeah, I'm knackered.
Congrats.
So,
that's not running. You walked quickly.
If this is the chaos episode because I'm knackered, can I just like have a nap and?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, there are no rules.
Is that a chaotic move?
3 miles. Oh my God.
Derk, what are you reading at the moment?
Like a 10-minute mile.
I'm just going to dance.
Yeah, cool.
No,
So,
I won't.
Jed,
I
what are you
promise.
reading right now?
I'm reading 2 books. The first one isn't a fantasy book at all. It's about house hacking. So like a real estate book. The second one is Pawn's Gambit by our very own Rob J. Hayes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How is it? Does it suck?
Yeah, it's horrible. Compared to all these other books, it's just a real downwards turn. And I think it's the end of his career, quite honestly. No, that's not true at all. I'm only like about 20 pages in or so, but I'm enjoying the setup so far. And I got to say, I was disappointed that the prologue was more than 2 sentences.
Yeah,
he's
lost it.
I do love those really short prologues.
The problem is, this time round, I got Derk to write the prologue. Never Die. I just got Fletcher to write it. And he was like, phone this in.
Fletcher was like, you didn't want a minimum word count. You have a maximum word count here, I see, but I won't be going anywhere near that. No worries at all. Just do that nice, easy 2-word prologue. The 2-sentence prologue. So reading Pawn's Gambit. What have I read? Do you want other books I read recently, or do you want to go on to other people's books?
If you got something good.
I'm trying to think.
Something you want to pimp.
Getting up my Goodreads.
Awesome.
I read the last Mistborn book, The Bands of Mourning, which I was...
Yeah, I don't care.
I know you don't care for them, but it's great. It has this weird thing.
Have you ever read a Brandon Sanderson book, Fletcher?
I actually read one of his trilogies.
Which one?
I don't know. I can't remember because by the end I was kind of like, yeah, I'm done. I did read the whole thing though. I finished the 3 books and was like, okay.
To
But
be honest,
anyway,
I can see
I
that
mean,
Sanson isn't
people
for everyone.
fucking love him, so obviously he's doing something amazingly right.
Yeah, I totally get how it's subjective taste. For me, it's like exactly what I want from fantasy books, but for some people, it's not not their thing. What other books have I read recently? I've read a book about how to sleep better and a book called Sapiens, which is about human history, which is interesting because it kind of makes you realize that a lot of the things we take for granted are totally arbitrary social constructs, and it has a lot of useful things about different cultures that can be useful for fantasy world building, if I'm to tie it back to this episode somewhat tangentially.
Yeah, I love those kind of books.
Cool.
Yeah, there's just so
Dyrk,
much stuff in there to steal.
How about we come back to the futility of existence in a moment, because I think that's actually an awesome topic.
Fletcher's favorite.
What you been reading, Derk?
A few days ago, I finished His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik, and it's amazing. I didn't realize it takes place in the 1700s, I think, during the Napoleonic Wars, from the perspective of a captain of a ship in the British Navy, and but they have dragons. It's an alt history fantasy, and it's amazing. She did. My only criticism is she uses a lot of semicolons.
I kind of feel attacked there a little bit.
She makes you look like a semicolon infant. I counted 7 on one page.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. She wins.
Yeah, there are a lot of semicolons. The little smirking stop signs of death.
But I was so guilty when I use a semicolon.
It's an amazing. It's a really, really, really great book. She deserves all the kudos she gets for sure. Right now, I'm reading this ARC of the Maleficent VII by Cameron Johnston, courtesy of the lovely Angry Robot Peoples. There's a new cover that's so much cooler. This is not bad, but there's a new one that's so much cooler, with the 7 characters flying around in a really.
We need some fancy editing on this show, so like when we say something like that, it like pops up.
Jump to the new cover.
Get on that.
I wish I had time to put that much detail into this.
Scrap the other bits of your life that are getting in the way of making this look slick.
This is so much fun. It's obviously the Maleficent VII, it's a take a little bit on the Magnificent Seven, which is a remake of the Seven Samurai. But it's Magnificent Seven meets Kings of the Wild meets the Addams Family. The characters are insane, and the shit they get themselves into is just so much fun. They basically have to gather the crew back together. And they are really awful, rotten people. The only thing that redeems them is that they're the big bad enemy is even worse. So it's really fun.
I think my favorite character in it is the once
this
god.
Far in. What's that?
My favorite character is the once god, the character who was once a god of war, but isn't anymore.
Cahal Gilroy.
He's just a Scottish maniac.
So, did you read the whole thing?
Yeah, I finished it a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, you liked it too?
Oh, I loved it, mate. I pitched it as Kings of the Wild meets Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's like that too. Or what's the old movie where they have to get all those like ex-prisoners together and in the military and go do this insane, impossible job? I can't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, they put all these rogues together and have to go do this insane, impossible thing. And, it's like that. I'm only this far in right now. It's a
chunky book.
It's not a spoiler, but they just rescued the alchemist, got out of the hive, which is insane. I mean, it's it's weird. It's more grimdark, I guess, and gross definitely than Kings of the Wild, but it's got that same kind of fun, camaraderie, bizarre.
It has as many bodily fluids as a Michael R. Fletcher book.
Oh, it does.
Come on,
it's
now.
insane.
I'm being one up, dog. Semicolon, bodily fluid.
There are a lot of, and especially in that hive scene, a lot of pus and bug juice and bug spit and bug piss and whatever else.
That's just what you want from a good fantasy book. And I'm looking at the new cover as well, and yeah, it is fantastic.
It is cool, isn't it? So pop it up on the screen, right? You can
Wonder.
If it is up on the screen, congrats to me for getting the time to edit that properly. If it isn't up on the screen, just look it up. And then that way you can see the blurb of the book. Maybe even read the start of it.
I think it's going to
look great,
really, really well.
Yeah.
So right now I'm reading this Legacy of the Brightwash by local Kanakastani Crystal Matar. I don't like it. I'm extremely upset because, quite frankly, she's so much fucking better at this than I am. Prose is really good. It's really smooth. It is such an effortless read. I keep stopping and kind of wanting to find a problem with it. I'm like, oh, did you really need that word? Come on, you're stacking on the editing. It's like, no, it's good.
This whole chapter could go. It's just too good.
Is it fantasy?
What is it about? What is it? Is it fantasy? What is it?
Yeah, so it's fantasy. I will real quick read the back off.
So massive.
It's a chonker. Yo. Tashu's faith in the law is beginning to crack. 3 years ago, he stood by when the authority condemned Jason, that's his son, by the way, to the brutality of the Rift for noncompliance. When Tashu's son refused to register as a tainted, the laws had to be upheld. He never doubted his job as a regulation officer before, but 3 years of watching your son wither away can break down even the strongest convictions.
I love your movie trailer voice.
I know we need to get him to do like blurb voiceovers for all of our books now. I think
I can do that.
Yeah, that's a good
anyway,
idea.
it is it's too much effort to put it back there behind me because I'm tired and I'm lazy and it's 8:00 in the morning. But it's really good, so you should definitely check that out.
Yeah,
who's the publisher?
It's self-published.
Oh, it is. It's
Yeah,
that's Crystal. Oh, okay.
It's Crystal. You know Crystal.
I know
Come
Crystal.
on, man. Yeah.
I knew it was self-published. It was on my self-published blog.
Is that
Shout out to Rob Hayes' blog.
This is awful since I've known Crystal. We've never met, but I've known her on social media for a long time. Is this her first book?
I actually don't know. I believe it is, which is that makes it doubly upsetting if this is a debut. That's like really. So bodily fluids stomped.
Way to go, Crystal!
And stomped. She's got a better debut novel stomped. Like, fuck, come on, man, leave me something.
Still the colon king. Oh no, wait, that was taken away from you by Naomi Novak, wasn't it?
I never used.
Also, that's something completely different. The colon king.
Yeah.
The colon. Yeah, he is the colon king, but for a completely different reason.
That's right. Very poor choice of words. Well, I guess that was our featured book for that episode, so that worked out very nicely. Legacy of the Brightwash.
Do you think I did not plan every possible aspect of this? I mean, you've all received your notes and your dialogue. You know what you have to say.
I've actually been replaced by an actor for tonight's episode.
They're all featured books.
Yeah, that's true. That works.
So
Mine's downstairs.
If we can sort of duck off fantasy for just a second here, let's pop back to something. Young Jed Herne. Jed, is that short for something?
No.
Jedediah.
Jennifer.
Are you Jedediah Herne?
You could add
you
whatever
actually
name you
like
want.
somewhere in the southern states?
Yeah.
Just
I actually am. This whole time I've been hiding a big Texan drawl.
Yeah.
Hidington Jedifier Jedson.
You're speaking right now. You're speaking right now in a Texas drawl.
Does he sound like a Texas accent? I would have no idea. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so you mentioned the futility of existence and reading about, finding purpose in life and all that. So,
Sure.
Derk, you have age and wisdom on your side. I don't know how much older than you are. So tell us a lot. Thank Christ for that, because I'm still just a young whippersnapper with a little bit of hair left. Still, it's going gray. Anyway, how do you find a purpose? What do you, knowing that it's futile, knowing that there's no actual reason to do anything, and that 50
everything's
years
going
after you're gone, no one's gonna fucking remember anything about any of us or give a shit. 100 years, zippo.
The world
No one's even gonna be reading our
shit.
books 100 years from now. What keeps you going?
I know exactly.
What keeps you going, man?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know, honestly. I like what I do. So that helps. And I also try to just think about, the very near future instead of the long future. I can't believe that I'm 58. I still feel like I should be 36. You don't
look a day over 73, Dirk.
Crazy that all my buddies are like from college are like turning 60 and stuff.
Whoa.
So yeah,
that is a spin.
Yeah, one of my best buddies just had his 60th birthday.
Wait a minute, does that mean you're old enough to be Jed's grandfather?
Maybe.
Jed, there's something we need to tell you.
Oh no.
I am your grandfather.
Oh boy.
But honestly, it's just that I enjoy what I do, and my family is doing. My mom and dad are still kicking. My dad just got his second vaccination shot, so we're still got my mom on the waiting list. She's 79. My dad's 84. But things are good. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and they're all doing well. The younger ones. It's just, I'm excited about the new project that I'm working on, and the writing is going really well. I'm meeting my word counts for the day. I've got a new fancy chair. I lean all the way back and use this lap thing and write with my feet up.
That's pretty sick.
And the classes are going okay that I teach online. Basically I just think about that stuff. So my attitude is more a day that something horrible doesn't happen is a good day. So, it's but that's kind of the way I go. So right. I just get up and do my stuff, and every once in a while I go, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? It's not like every day is, happy, joy. But, I've got a Kickstarter coming up, and that's a lot of work. Plus I got to still keep meeting the word counts and doing the day job. But other than that, it's all working out, I guess.
Nice. Rob, same question. Futility, pointlessness of the universe. Have at.
I don't know, man. I had a bit of a breakdown earlier this week, so I don't think I got a good answer to that question. I'm currently on a enforced sabbatical, or I guess that's the right word. Yeah. I just like the whole lockdown thing started getting to me, along with a bunch of other anxieties. Felt like a fucking massive weight just crushing down from above. So I decided to take a couple of weeks off. And just recharge. And I think that's important as to what keeps me going, keeps me doing this, even though knowing that one day soon we'll all be dead. Nothing we do will matter. We won't be remembered, apart from Fletcher. He's immortal. I don't know, man. I love doing what I do. I love writing. I love telling stories. I really don't want to ever go back and do like a crappy day job again. So I've got to make this work. I can't go back to being a banker.
No pressure then, right?
So this kind of depression thing that you went through, that seems to have come pretty close on the tail of the announcement of your engagement. Congratulations.
Interesting connection there, yeah.
Yes, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats,
That's
bro.
awesome.
Yes, I asked my missus to marry me on Christmas Day.
Oh, very
She
nice.
said yes.
She doesn't watch this show, right?
No. She usually listens in. She's actually like outside the door, just like ear pressed against it. Nah. She doesn't know. But if she did, she'd probably be horrified.
Understandably so.
She doesn't know that you do this, or she doesn't know you were depressed.
No, she knows that I was depressed, and she knows that I do this. But
she's used to your moody bastard.
Yeah, well,
things sound very correlated.
It comes in waves. I don't know, like
fucking gloomy Brits.
Yeah, it sneaks up on me personally, and I'll be absolutely fine, and then suddenly it'll hit, and for a few days I'll just be like, I can't deal. I just can't work up the energy to do anything. Like there was one point where the little beagle Cora was just staring at me like she wanted to go for a walk, and I just thought like I should probably say something like, we'll go for a walk soon. I was like, what's the point? I just can't find the energy to talk.
Yeah,
we laughed, but no, it was pretty horrible at the time. But after a few days, it abates and sort of goes away. And I've always found that for me, that's how it strikes me. It sort of hits like a wave, crashes over me, and then washes away.
Do you find that running sort of helps?
I get some pretty deep, anxiety moments, but for some reason they pass quickly, like in the same day. Like even a couple hours later, it's just fine. Usually it's I dive into something and make myself do it, and then I feel better. My problem is though that whenever things are bad, I think it's going to be bad forever.
Yeah.
And whenever things are good, I think it's going to be good forever. So however it is right now, I think it's going to be that way forever. And of course, an hour later, it's not that way.
Yeah, we will always be doing this podcast forever, Dirk. This Zoom session.
We're going to be doing these fucking podcasts forever.
That's it. We are actually locked into a contract. Even past death, we will still be doing these things.
That's right. I actually have your DNA and your voice print doubles so that we can just have AI robots to replace you as you slowly die away.
Is it the same kind of, are we looking at the same kind of afterlife from Beyond Redemption?
The after death?
Yeah, the after death. I better start killing people. That's the case.
You have plenty of followers
people and save up. Make sure you've got some money on you and a couple of good weapons.
Yep, I gotta have a knife in my boot, a couple of coins in my boot, in my other boot, and I gotta have a lot of people that I killed in battle.
Yeah. Well, when you die,
in Mike's afterlife, you can take stuff like that, and anybody that you killed has to do what you say.
Nice. How does that work? Like, if you kill someone tangentially, like I don't know, you create an environmental policy that leads to pollution, and it kills like a couple of thousand people. Then do they become
in my
your
world?
members?
It's a direct murder.
Okay.
If you like pick up something and somebody slips on a banana peel you left behind and cracks their head open and dies, that doesn't quite count.
What if you planned it?
Now, if you planned it, yes. Because
so intent is
perception
sort of important.
matters.
It's spoilery, but one of my favorite parts is when the main character in the afterlife has this great big dude that he killed. He doesn't have a sword. Is it a sword or an axe?
Yeah, a sword, I think.
It's a sword, and he goes, "You give me your sword." The guy's like, he hands it over.
Just so sad about it, just like, oh.
That's right. That's kind of what it's like too. Because he has to do what he says, because those are the rules in the afterlife.
So, Jed,
yeah,
as the youngest here, with the largest quantity of years of futility and pointlessness ahead of you, how are you handling it?
Well, not too sure about that after my recent hospital visit. That definitely made me, for listeners who aren't aware, I had my appendix out recently, and I lost like 10 kilos over the course of a week in a hospital. And it was like,
which you didn't have to lose.
No, definitely not. I went from 70 down to 60. So yeah, it wasn't
pounds.
Kilos.
He's a little fella.
Not pounds.
He's a lot shorter than he looks.
He's a little.
Yeah, I went from weighing a feather to much less than that. No, I think for me, I mean, the nice thing is that even though it is futile, our brains are extraordinarily good at making us think that it's not futile, even if we are kind of intellectually aware of the fact that there is no inherent meaning or whatever. So I think for me, very similar to what Rob and Dirk have pointed out, it's like finding projects that you're really passionate about working on that kind of, like feel fulfilling to do, that sort of challenge and push you in terms of your abilities and everything. And I also find that like journaling is really useful for me because like I used to just sort of write down what I've done in the day. But then probably like a year ago, I started actually like reflecting on more stuff in the journal. And I found that is like consistently the activity that brings me the most amount of peace. Like
you write a lot about us, don't you?
What's that?
You write a lot about us, don't you? Mostly me, but
I'm not sure if you can see behind me, but these volumes are specifically for this podcast. So, about 10.
You're causing Jed a lot of just like internal drama here.
All the misery.
That's right. The local stationery store is very happy for you guys. I think just like writing stuff down in a journal, it just makes you reflect that for me personally, it always tends to make me feel that like things that I think are bad are not that bad in the scheme of things, or that things that are good are like really good in the scheme of things, which is weird. Like instead of leveling things out, it just seems to push things up from both like a positive and negative perspective for me. So journaling I find really useful. I also feel that most of like my general levels of peace and happiness are mostly physiological in the sense of they're usually pretty heavily correlated to like how much exercise am I doing? How much outside of time am I having? What am I eating? Whenever I'm sort of feeling down or whatever, I guess I sort of go through those as a checklist, and it's like, have I eaten recently? Have I, gone outside and done some exercise? Have I, like talked with people or whatever? And then, after all of that, usually it goes away. Sometimes it doesn't, but that for me is sort of how I see it. Plus also I'm young enough to not think that I will die. So
that's a nice bonus way to rub that in.
Well, I'm sure they'll create like the immortality technology in, I don't know, like 30 years or something. At which stage it'll probably be too late.
Fucking late, isn't it?
Yeah. But for me, it'll be perfect timing.
Yeah, you'll be good.
I miss the confidence of youth where you thought that you were immortal and you're never going to die.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote a whole book called Never Die. So you should know about that.
Where all the characters keep dying.
Spoilers.
For years, I've told myself that I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. I was, especially the last few months, and more than that, of finishing up book 3 of the Paternus trilogy. There were times when I was like, I'm going to finish this fucking book, but I might never write again, because it was such a beast and I was under such pressure to get it done on the second extended deadline. And it just kept getting longer. And then the edit process was so long, took forever, because I'll never write a 236,000 word novel again. That's insane. It almost killed me. And I was doing, and for years I was doing 7 days a week, 7 or 8 o'clock till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, every day, every single day. And the only time I did something different is if someone planned something that I had to go do. And I was like, I won't do that again. So now I'm on this kind of contract to finish these 3 books over 3 years in this new trilogy. And and that sounds scarier, but in a way it's a lot. It's very freeing, because I don't have to worry about any of the cover design stuff and the advertising and all the other production elements, or even the editing. Really, they'll get it out and then I'll get the edits back. And I've got people I can bounce ideas off of, so I don't have the pressure. It doesn't take nearly as much research. And I told myself I will write 1,300 words a day, which for me was a lot, but now I'm getting them done in 2 to 3 hours. And I only 5 days a week. And I quit every day at 6 or 7 mostly. But to me, that's like, what am I going to do with the rest of the night? You know?
Yeah, what do you do with the rest of the time?
Yeah, and weekends, it's like, well, what am I going to do on the weekends? Now, of course, I spend time on business stuff for the trilogy, you know, advertising, Facebook, AMS, website, whatever kind of stuff that kind of needs to be done, even though a lot of it, I just don't do a lot of things that I should probably, or that I could. I wouldn't say should, as far as marketing and promotion and stuff. But man, I just finished the 3rd week of that schedule, and it's been awesome.
Nice.
It's been really awesome. And I'm ahead on my word count.
How are we doing for time? I have not been paying attention.
We've been going for about half an hour or so we can probably wrap up soonish, but I would love to hear your answer to your own question first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this a lot over the last year or two for reasons much
forever,
like
your whole life.
Yeah. So someone said about a year and a half ago, just pre-COVID, if you can't figure out how to be happy, then really, how smart are you? And I was like,
agreed.
You're like, asshole.
Ow.
Wait.
Because I was miserable. And so that hit. So I took this like very kind of sane approach to it, and started breaking down the things that made me happy. And at first, because I'm a moron, I looked into chemical answers, right? And I read up on, you know, endorphins.
Cocaine makes me happy.
And, you know, and all these, all the like the sort of like chemical things that make you happy. And then I started like researching supplements and stuff to figure out how I could get all these chemicals into my body. And then at some point, I realized that exercise actually kind of released most of them for free. And I was like, yeah, free's pretty good. And, you know, realized that if maybe I got off my ass and started exercising, that would help. So yeah, cardio, I'm slowly turning into a cardio junkie.
Wow.
The other part was breaking down the actions, the doing things side of life, that stuff that made me happy. And kind of, I was surprised to realize I like finishing things. I like working on projects, and I realized sometimes they have to be physical. They can't all be writing books.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've been trying to do is just every now and then launch a new stupid project. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be
just house
photos,
stuff,
fixing something, cleaning up the basement, just getting something done, you know, where it's like, yeah, that was done. And extra good if it like requires a new skill that I don't have. Cause I am not a handy dude. You know, if I look at something like I hung, we got a new TV. I hung it in the living room and it hasn't fallen down yet. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yay.
It's gonna come down someday, but you know, whatever. Part of it, sometimes I have trouble not seeing the universe reality as a bit of a game. And because it's so pointless, it's got all the trademarks of a computer game.
I was just thinking this earlier today.
and I look at it, and so like I have a day job. I am not like a full-time famous writer. I drive a fucking forklift, and so I'll be driving around.
That's
and
his car.
I'm like, so I'm playing this game, and this is what I'm choosing to do with my time. Like, how dumb am I? And yet, I have bills. I have a kid I need to feed. I've got a mortgage. And like, the writing is not going to pay all that yet.
Yeah.
I've got expensive tastes, damn it. So I don't know. The day job is still a thing. I've kind of found it's become a lot less painful now that I'm high as fuck on endorphins all the time from cardio. I can kind of like float through a lot of days, which is good. But yeah, every now and then, I crash. I think it's an exaggeration, but I lean towards the manic depressive. I've got two modes. I'm either go like a fucking psycho and I am insanely productive, and I will bang out 3 novels back to back, bum, 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 bum. 9 months of like just solid fucking writing, no editing, and then I'll have to edit 3 novels back to back, which really sucks. And then that's the depressive phase, where shit takes a lot longer. I don't know. It's a work in progress, but if you're not smart enough to figure out how to be happy, how smart are you?
Well, I remember too that not so long ago, you and I, when we first kind of met on social media, we were talking. I think it started with an editors talking about editors and this, fancy trad editor, and I was like, shit, I'm just as happy to get the opinion. I'd rather get the opinion of the plumber down the street. And Mike and I had this conversation back and forth. And that was when he was really heavily going after querying to get another trad deal. But so I only brought that up because you were not happy. And,
no.
and then I noticed that once you finally just kind of put that aside and embraced the self-pub, that you began to cheer up. I could just tell.
Oh, immensely. I think it's weird. Like
even though it's more work.
Yep. And like querying, I've basically all of my self-published novels have been queried to agents. Not agents. I've had 2 agents now, like good ones, but publishers just not interested. And when I finally just sort of gave up and was like, yeah, I'm just going to self-publish them, I felt so much better.
Yeah.
Like there's no waiting. There's, it's not that there's no stress because, you guys do the same. You put a lot of stress on yourself. Like we're all easily capable of breaking ourselves with stress, and deadlines, and pressure to do better and all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, gotta say I love the self-publishing side of things.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to know that you don't have anybody to answer to other than your readers, and fuck them, right?
Other than your readers, the most demanding group there is.
No, I mean, but that's that I put a lot of stress. I mean, I freaked out with the release of book 2, worse than book 3. And it was, I mean, I would say it sometimes, but it was an amazing relief when people actually liked them. Some people still don't like the books, but it always amazes me looking through. Once a week I look through Goodreads and do some friends requests and write down some stats. And I'm always amazed that people get to book 3 and they're just like 2-starring every book. It's like, well, if you don't like these books, why do you keep reading?
Someone will like read book 1 star, fucking hated it. This was terrible. Right.
And then they read the next one.
And then the book 2, 1 star. This was even worse than the first one.
Maybe it's like golf. They think you got to try to get a really low score for it to be good.
But, there are folks, I've seen conversations where folks feel compelled that once they've read the first, they must finish a series. And I'll see that even with Mark Lawrence's series or Brandon Sanderson's, and they might not like it, And every time I get reviews like that, I just go and look at all these books that sell so many and are so famous and just hit the 1 star. And you're going to find a shitload of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just search for the 1 stars. I mean, there are a ton of them. So
the other way to look at it is if they've 1-starred your entire series, they have bought your entire series.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
That's a win for the bank.
No complaints here as long as
we've babbled for a
percentages,
while.
Right.
So we probably should wrap this up, but this was good.
Chaos! More chaos.
More chaos.
I did really enjoy this discussion, though, and I would like to do more mindset talks in the future. So, yeah, definitely if you have other similar questions, because I feel like I didn't really give a great answer just because I had
that was pretty half-assed, Jed. We're fairly disappointed with you there.
No, yours was good. I mean, you're only 12. We can't expect so much. You know,
we get to realize the crushing
how
weight
much
of the
life
world.
experience have you had?
That is
I mean,
true.
I'm happy to talk about Mike's mindset at any time. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think next week we'll talk about how tragedy shapes the man.
All right. See you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thanks for suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, also, if you enjoyed this weird random episode, let us know. If you hated it, also let us know. It probably won't influence us too much, but it'll be good.
No,
to
yeah.
get you.
Talk
that
about
shit to
stuff
yourself.
that
We don't
actually
care.
matters.
Exactly. And as we end this episode, thank you to our special high tier Patreon, Daniel Henderson.